Okay, here we are back again with 12.2, which is the converse of the Pythagorean theorem. So what the Pythagorean theorem says is if you have a right triangle, then a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And the converse says if a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then you have a right triangle. And so that's what we're going to show today. So Pythagorean theorem, again, it only works with right triangles. And the only reason that would allow you to use Pythagorean theorem to find the side of a triangle is you have to have a right triangle first. So let's go apply it to this first triangle. We don't have the symbols because we just don't know if it's a right triangle or not. But the first thing we need to do is identify which one of these is A, B, and C. And C is always going to be the longest side. So in that particular triangle, that C becomes 13. So because 13 is the longest side. So we'll start with our formula, a squared plus b squared and equals c squared. And we just want to know, is this true or not? So a and b doesn't really matter. I'm going to let 5 be a and 12 can be the b. 5 squared plus 12 squared. And we want to know if that's the same as 13 squared. So if you want to use your calculator, you can. You're going to get used to seeing some of these numbers over and over again. 5 squared is 25, 12 squared is 144, and 13 squared is 169. So we really just want to know, if I add up 25 and 144, do I get 169? And the answer is yes. 25, if I put a 25 under there, 25 and 144 make 169. 169 is the same thing. So the answer is yes, it is a right triangle. Let's go apply it over here to this second problem. Again, pick out which one is C right away. The longest side is C. There's C. This one can be A. This one can be B. It doesn't really matter what you call A and B. It makes no difference. But C is critical. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And let's go ahead and plug them in. These numbers are all pretty small. 3 squared plus 4 squared. We want to know if that equals 5 squared. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. 5 squared is 25. 9 plus 16 is 25. And so this is true also. So the answer to this question is yes. It is a right triangle. Okay, here's this next problem in the lesson. And again, identify C. It's the longest side. So A and B. Just to mix it up a little bit, I'll call this one B and I'll call this one A. Again, it doesn't matter. Start with the formula, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And we just want to check and see again if it's true. So this will be 8 squared plus 6 squared equals 9 squared. Now 9 times 9 is 81. And 6 times 6 is 36. And 8 times 8 is 64. And 64 plus 36, if you want to go to your calculator, that equals 100. And 100 is not the same as 81. So we're going to go ahead and write that this is not a right triangle. This one fails. So Pythagorean theorem can be used to show that this would not be a 90-degree angle. Okay, so let's take a look at a situation where we're given the lengths of the sides, but we don't really have a picture. They're just giving us numbers. They could even give us numbers and not even give us A, B, and C, and we would know that if these are my three numbers here, 6.4 and 12 and 12.2, this one's going to be C because it's the longest side. So I'm going to go ahead and skip writing the formula just to save a little bit of time here, but it's going to be A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and this is with the decimals definitely going to be needing for the calculator, and so you'll notice that I actually put the calculator side by side to the problem here. So we want to know what 6.4 squared is. So we'll go ahead and go 6.4 squared, and I'm just going to keep it going here, plus 12 squared, and that gives me 184.96. I'm going to hit enter on that. And I'm going to come over here to the 12.2. I just want to know what 12.2 squared is. It's just, I just want to know, are these things the same? And it turns out they're not. So this comes out to be 184.96. That is not the same as 148.84. So these three sides right here, not a right triangle. And that's about it for that lesson.